Welcome. I'm your host, Julie Poole, a law of attraction coach, hypnotherapist, and spiritual teacher. This show is for anyone interested in living their best life on all levels, mind, body, and soul. My aim is to uplift, inform, and inspire you. So let's chat and move you from hoping to having. When I am going to connect with you guys here now to give you some healing, and we're going to be doing clearing blocks, energy alignment, moving you forward in your life so that you can live your best life. So first of all, are things progressing as intended? Yes, indeed, they are. We always knew that this time was coming. We've known it since the early 1900s when channeling information first became very strong and very active in the spiritualist communities, people talking about a new age coming. It went very slowly and very gradually for some 50 years. Then it started to speed up. And then we had to wait for portals to open. So, portals. The portals brought down a new energy. So if you imagine, if you were up in space looking down on Earth, there were various portals around the planet in some particularly important areas. The pyramids, South America, parts of North America, Glastonbury in England. There are various portals. There's some in the oceans as well. They're just showing me some in the Pacific, some in the Atlantic. These all started to open up, bubbling up, allowing the energies to come down, which allowed us to progress and move forward. As more light comes in, our light bodies lift and we become more aware. It's like that we've been walking around with a blindfold on. We see what we were exposed to in our little world, and then we start to be able to see more and more and more. And of course, the advances in technology have greatly helped move towards that. So the advances in technology and all the internet and all the communication, being able to be aware of stuff that we weren't aware of before. Initially, quite a lot of fear around that. But gradually people are becoming more accustomed to that and things are coming up. So in terms of are we progressing? Things are ramping up in terms of change. We did a lot of clearing, a lot of realizing, a lot of shifting, a lot of letting go. So it's like now that's out the way. Now we can lift up and things are speeding up. So they are speeding up. More things are coming to light. Things are happening and hitting so quickly. That's going to continue for a little while. So there has been some releasing within physical bodies as well, people passing on to the other side. There's also been a releasing of belief systems and apathy. So it's like we kind of shut our eyes to it, don't want to know. And now we're opening our eyes and saying that's not okay. Right, now we don't want to put a load of energy into that to say, that's dreadful and we go into this warring energy. What we want to do is just put this energy in of into what is not okay, of allowing it to come into a place of peace and light. Send that, just keep sending that out, and that'll do very, very nicely. Am I on the right path to fulfill my purpose? All right, so what is my purpose? My purpose is to know who I am. That sounds pretty flippant, but we overcomplicate things. To know who I am. I am God personified. I am a creative being of light. I am love. I am joy. I am capable of unbelievable things. So that is our purpose, to know who I am. So how do I get there? How do I get to that knowing I am God? To know that I am creator, to know that I am creative, to know that I am manifester. We get there by experiencing different empowerments and different evidential showing up, right? So what they're saying is that you may go into a relationship or a job or a situation which is a disaster. And you'll say to yourself, well, that was the wrong path for me. I went wrong there. I need to get back onto the right path so I can go forward. Now, we would disagree, they're saying. We would say that nothing is ever wasted. And you've heard us say this before, that wrong job or wrong relationship was not wrong. It was right exactly in that moment to show you something about yourself or show you a mirror of that person or that situation in that job that triggered something in you that you then became aware of so that you could heal it, release it, change it. We're in a huge upgrading of awareness of boundaries. So how do we learn boundaries? How do we learn to shift and change our boundaries? How do we learn if they're too weak or too strong or too tough or too rigid? Because we come up against resistance, something that doesn't work. So we then have to bring that attention back into ourselves and say, why is this winding me up? Why is this triggering me? What is this about for me? So that we can learn and change and then carry on down our path towards something that does align for you. So you learn just as much from your perceived mistakes as you do from your perceived successes. And so see it all as valid and see that your purpose is to know who you are and that all experiences show you that. So in order to align with your best self, you are inviting spirit, inviting the higher realms to say, show me my best self, show me the path to my best self. Now, sometimes you may be asking for the quickest path, and that might be in your alignment. However, we would say sometimes the quickest path can be the hardest path because of the growth that needs to happen on that path. Sometimes the soul will say, I'd rather take the long way round and learn these things gently. And other souls, impatient souls, will say, no, bring it on, I'll handle it, let's just get there. So you have the choice, you see. You are the magician, you are the creator. Which do you desire and which do you choose? So your fulfillment, look at yourself, your life, and look at the experiences around you in your life and say, where am I unfulfilled in this particular situation? Let us take the example of your health. Is your health full of vitality, vibrancy, energy? Do you wake in the morning rested, joyful, looking forward to the day? If the answer is no, then we would say your health is not at its full potential. So you can choose to bring your attention into focusing on improving your health. To allow your health and just manifest that simply by saying to the universe, show me the way to my most optimum health. Very often it is more a case of what you need to take out rather than what you need to bring in. But you know this, none of you are ignorant to what makes your body work well and what makes your body work poorly. And so do the same thing with a job. With a career, we understand that this is important. You spend a lot of time there to love your job, to feel fulfilled in your job, to feel that you have a purpose and meaning as you go about your work. Is very important, and your job can grow you equally as can relationships. And so as you're growing in these situations, you get to a point where you're no longer growing, and then you feel bored, dissatisfied, you feel frustrated, you feel impatient, you feel everything that is not joy. And that is your sign it is time to look for another job. So then you would identify, so what will fulfill me? What will enrich me? And you send that message clearly out to the universe. Align me with that which will fulfill me. And then it is time for you to look at your blocks, your barriers, your walls that prevent that which is good for you from coming towards you. Because you see, you put down so many conditions. I only want a job that's within 15 minutes of where I live. I only want a job on X amount of salary. I only want a job with X word in the title. And so you limit all of your possibilities rather than trust and go with the flow. So we would say, Allow yourself to let the universe guide you and help you, and see where your heart is drawn. We will not let you fail. We will not let you struggle. Just allow more, and you will find that work and life and joy work better for you. All right? For a long, long time, millennia, you have, as a people, created an ownership, a belonging within marriages, an attachment to the other half. You complete me. I can't live without you. There is a possession. My husband, my wife. This has gone on a very long time. It is extremely restricting to the soul, to the light. There is much disallowing. You're not allowed to do this and you're not allowed to do that. There is much judgment. We would suggest in this day, as we approach rapidly the golden age, that you begin to see marriage for what it is. It is a contract between two people who have chosen to share their love and to express that openly to their friends and family. That is what a marriage ceremony is. If you can just hold that truth and come back to the origins of that love. I choose to spend my life with you and grow old with you. I did not choose to give up my own life in doing so and become your thing, your possession, your ownership, your slave. And we are not talking about control here or bullying or abusive relationships, for they are not love. And that is not what we're talking about with marriage. We are saying simply, love is free. It knows no binds, no bounds, no chains. Love just is. And so we would suggest, as you move forward into this new age of freedom, that you let go, that you detach, that you simply come back to how you were in the beginning. If indeed your relationship is truly love, it is when you see the other happy that it makes you happy, that you see the other wanting growth and you want to support that growth, and they you. But you see, as time goes on and this ownership and the noose becomes tighter of this ownership, you lose that. You no longer are concerned with the other's happiness, only with the attachment of what is perceived to be acceptable and not acceptable. For example, we may say that one part of this partnership yearns to travel and the other does not. And that's all right. A loving relationship would say, you go travel, go on your journey, go on your adventure, have a wondrous time. Come back with all sorts of amazing adventures to share. But my soul is not drawn to that particular adventure. And I'll see you in 6 months or 12 months, and that's all right. But you see, for most of you, it's not all right. You won't allow it. You are prohibiting the soul in the other from growth. And so resentment builds, distance builds, arguments builds, until one or both of you will feel the only way forward is to break the contract, which is allowed, of course. And that is sometimes sad, because it didn't need to be like that if you had just allowed the other to be and they had allowed you to be. So we would say, going forward with marriages or relationships, loving, romantic relationships of any kind, start looking at your ownership attachments and recognize them for what they are. They are fear, they are control, and they are not love. All right? Are you open to receive? Are you open to receive? There is a video on my YouTube channel under one of the how to help thingies of being able to be open to help. So many of us, this is me talking now, not them, so many of us are very resistant to help. We judge it, you see, as being weak, vulnerable, that asking for help could be used as a battering ram to batter us with later down the line. Well, I helped you, so we don't like asking for help. This comes from conditioning in childhood. In most cultures, particularly the British, are brought up, and I'm sure many of you are, don't bother people, dear. Don't ask for help. Do it yourself. If you do ask, you can only ask family, and only immediate family, and only then if you're absolutely desperate. And generally you get judged. Don't bother people. What do you say to people when you ask for help? Sorry to bother you. I wonder if, humble me. All right, so we don't do it. We don't like it. Now, if you have got an issue with asking for help, you have got an issue with receiving. Now, why are they combined into one? If I am open to receiving, I am open to receiving the help that I need. So if I'm not open for the help, I'm not open to receiving. And the thing is with receiving, it's an energy. You can't pick and choose which bit you're going to receive and which bit you're not. You're either open to receiving or you're closed. So just stay with that for a moment and feel the ramifications of that, the consequences of that. So many of you will say, well, I'm open to receiving help in this area, but not this. But you see, in terms of the universe, the way it works, it's an energy. You either are open or you're closed. We need to be open to receive. Now, you want to receive guidance, and you often come to me for tarot and for guidance and things like that, yes? And you ask your higher self sometimes for help and guidance. But you're being very polarized with you I'll ask for help and you I won't. Now, I get it, because this is about discernment. You wouldn't necessarily ask your worst enemy for help. Of course not. All right. But we need to start seeing this receiving as an energy. If I'm open to receive, full stop, as we say in the UK, you Americans will say period, full stop, all right? I am open to receive, not I'm open to receive as long as, and then a long list of conditions, because that immediately cancels it out. So we're going to be in an energy of receiving. So what do I want to receive? Well, let's first of all identify what you need, all right? So it might be better health, it might be love, it might be more money, it might be a better job, it might simply be guidance, it might be confidence, it might be self-belief, all right? So you may be able to identify some of those things yourself, but the easiest way is just to say, I am open to receive, period. And let the universe bring what we need, rather than us saying, well, I know I need that, but that's all. And the universe might say, well, you could also do with a bit that, and that. But we're not allowed to help you because you have specified you only want it in this area. All right. I want to give you another example. Let's say that you are open for love, a new relationship. You're single, you're open, you want it. Let's say that you go on to one of the dating sites. And when you go on the dating sites, they immediately ask you, how far away do you want this person? And how tall do you want them? And what do you want them to do for a living? And how intelligent have they got to be? And they immediately, you are homing down what you want. And that's great. And the universe will always say, identify what you want and put it out there. But then we would say, add to that this or something better. This or something better, which immediately allows the universe to intervene and step in. So for example, let's say you've said, I want a new relationship, but it has to be within 20 miles, 20 kilometers, so that I can actually regularly see them. But let's imagine a person who is really right for you is 25 miles away, and you've immediately shut the door. Let's imagine that you want somebody of a certain age, but somebody that's just right for you is outside those parameters. So yes, set the parameters, but then say this or something better, and allow yourself to open up to receive that which is right for you, which may not be within your awareness or within your restrictions. All right? That isn't how love comes. It's, are you aligned with love? So the first question to be asking yourself is, do I love myself? Because we don't get what we want, we get what we are. When you love yourself and value yourself and honor and respect yourself, then you are in alignment with love. And love is a very joyous feeling. So that is the next question. Are you living a life that is joyous? You see, when all the ducks line up in a row, love will come. And so it is looking at those ducks and lining them up, which is what this webinar that I am going to be doing is all about, helping you line up your ducks. All right. How to unblock love. Yeah, there are many, many blocks to love. The main thing is to identify them and then take the action to clear them. So on my YouTube channel, on a playlist of Unlock Your Blocks is one to love. And there's a program that you can purchase from my website if you want to do that. We have blocks. Love is always around and it is always a reflection of us. So the first thing is, first of all, self-love and self-care. And then secondly, to identify blocks that may be stopping you, including things like income and distance and fear of being hurt again, and a heart that is unhealed from previous hurts, mistrusts, things like this, all of which can be healed. Reach out to the universe and say, show me how to clear what is in the way to love. Align me with love. Show me how to align with love. All right? We were talking about boundaries and the way that our boundaries are changing, and also our awareness is changing. So we can be falling out with people a little bit more at the moment because we are seeing a behaviour that perhaps has been there for a long time, but it's never really bothered us before, and all of a sudden it's bothering us. And why is that? Because our boundaries are getting stronger, our sense of self is getting stronger, and we are recognizing behavior that isn't good for what it is, that it's not good. And so we are now also stepping into more empowerment and competence to call out that behavior. It's actually growing you and the family member, both of you, on a soul level and on a personal level. Because as you call them out, you are stepping into an uncomfortable situation of confrontation, which you have been avoiding. And it's uncomfortable for them because their bad behavior is being shown to them and they don't like it. But if we're not aware, we can't make any changes. And so you see, it comes back to the beginning of what I'm saying. We are growing in awareness. And so the energy around us is opening up to more awareness. So we become aware of our bad behavior and others' bad behavior, so that it's not so that we can batter it, it's so that we can heal it. All right? All right, where do our pets go when they pass on? Exactly the same places we go when we pass on. Everything is energy. Anything with a life force has a soul. Okay, even plants to a certain extent, it's a different energy than people and living, breathing things. But all living, breathing things have a soul energy to a certain extent, and dogs and cats and pets certainly do. They have been brought into our existences in order to help us grow in love. Because these pets we love and we become fond of and attached to. When you have beliefs in the other side, in spirit, most of you know that when your body dies, your soul continues, and love continues, and your powerful self continues. And you may often envisage that on the other side your loved ones will be waiting for you in the same form as they were on this earth. And that can absolutely happen, because the soul can choose to appear any way that it wants to. And so the soul of a dog will appear to you on the other side as that dog. And they are loved and looked after, and they will find an owner on the other side in spirit. Looked after is not really relevant, because on the other side they don't need to eat, they don't need to sleep, they don't need water, they can't be neglected. They are simply bounding around doing what they love to do. So our pets are absolutely on the other side, having a whale of a time. And if you were to connect with a person who is a medium, that we would say those individuals who are able to connect with passed on loved ones, then you would often hear messages of, I can see a little dog around you, and they are absolutely still there. What do I need to let go of? What pattern or mindset? You're stuck a little bit in a rinse repeat cycle. Moving forward 2 steps, 1 back. Still moving forward though. And so in order to prevent this pattern, use the mindset, all right? The mindset to say, I am ready to go in a direction that is forward, not in circles. So visualize the circle that you have been going in. The circle's been getting bigger. You are expanding. That's fine. You're expanding very beautifully, in fact. But allow your soul, with ease, to begin to straighten out the circle so that you start to move more forward. We would say there is much to learn on repeating some of those patterns. Each time they become more uncomfortable, you are releasing them more and more. The problem is that you judge yourself. You realize that you are repeating a pattern, and then you beat yourself up, rather than laugh at yourself in a joyful, joyous way, not a condemning, belittling way, and catch yourself, there I go again. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm letting this one go. Then you'll be much more mindful going forward. So in terms of any particular pattern that you have, your main pattern is disempowerment. So you will build a belief, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. And a little bit of impatience. And when the impatience kicks in and nothing shows up, then you say, I can't do it, and you slip backwards. You can, but you perhaps don't give yourself time to see the results, or give up too soon. Sometimes results take a little while, and they're worth waiting for. All right, I hope that helps. Let's just take that word worry for a moment. All right, worrying, for anyone who isn't, the word worry is assuming danger rather than assuming protection. It will help if you recognize that you're worrying, and then recognize that worry doesn't help anything. In fact, it adds to the danger, which is what you don't want. So you're actually creating your own reality. Now, of course, one person worrying about somebody else can't create the reality for them, but enough in the collective worrying can. So instead of worrying, be aware of concern for others. Concern is a very different energy from worry. And then send protection and safety. I know the universe will guide them to safety. I know their angels, their spiritual team, their inner higher self will guide them to safety. Thank you for guiding these people to safety. All right. personal responsibility, be the ability to be able to say, I was wrong and I am sorry. Not everybody has this ability because of their own inner pains and inner hurts, that to own up to bad behavior or inappropriate behavior is too big a jump for them, because they are already feeling that they are a terrible person, and to self-hatred, and to own up, recognize where they've done wrong would add to that self-hatred, and it is too much of a burden for them, so they push it away and reject it and reject you with it. Please know it's not something that you can control or do anything about. You see, a person that is confident in themselves and self-loving and self-appreciative and self-valuing will accept absolutely that they are not perfect and will occasionally make a mistake, upset somebody, hurt somebody. And when they do, because they are emotionally and mentally strong, they are able to take ownership and responsibility and apologize and want to correct it. But that is because they're already in a place of love, and taking responsibility and apologizing when you've hurt somebody is a loving action, so they're able to do it. But people who are in a very dark place, they can't do it. Some of them can't do it. So we can either just allow them to continue as they are, because you're not going to change them, only they can change them. Or we can step away and say, I cannot be around that person, and because they cannot see the harm that they do me, and they will continue to do me harm. But you see, this is a self-loving act. You are protecting you by stepping away. You are protecting you, and that is correct. It is not anything to feel guilty about that you have stepped away simply from a person simply because you share the same DNA. If that person is doing you harm, it is the right and self-loving thing to do to step away if you cannot prevent that harm. We would say always try to prevent the harm, explain to the person, show the person how they are harming you in a loving way. And if they cannot hear it, they cannot accept it, and that behavior would continue, then we would say you are correct in your self-protection, and that's all right. Okay? All right. How do I find my passion where I can have a more fulfilling job helping others? So not everybody can be passionate about their job. It's interesting because the collective would say that we all deserve to feel fully passionate about our job. And if that is your belief, then that is true. That is true for you. You see, you could be so passionate about your family that there's little passion left over for a job. You could be so passionate about your home, there's little passion left over for a job. And for others, they may not have those things, so they put all their passion into their job. And that's all right, it all balances out. So feeling passion for your job, what does that mean? It means I look forward to going in to work at the beginning of the day, or if I work at the end of the day, whenever I work, I look forward to it. I feel like I make a difference. All right. Now, you see, it's in the perception. It's in the perception. You see, we might say that when you're working to help others, to help homeless people, to help feed the hungry, to help those less fortunate, to help people get out of debt, to help people get a loan for a home so they can have their own home, anything like that where you're helping people, we as a collective judge that to be worthy and therefore passionate. All right. However, if I was we call them in this country a bin man, which is not correct anymore. It's a refuge collector, garbage collector, depending where you live in the world and what you call the waste that we take out of the home. Many people would say, well, that's not a job you could be passionate about. But you see, the garbage collector would say that they are indeed helping people, taking all their trash away, stopping it being smelly and dirty and disgusting, and they love their job. You see, you can love any job, any job. You could love a job where you are cleaning, that you are making somebody's home or office lovely and clean for them, and you know that it gives them pleasure and it gives you pleasure to give them pleasure. It is in the perception. So ask yourself what you can do that would give you pleasure, and does your perception need to be altered? Because the emphasis tends to be on the salary. When it's a big salary, that'll give me pleasure, then I'll be passionate, but you might hate that job with a passion. Have you ever felt or known a spirit guide, team member, to be a little bit misleading in the information they have given? Okay. I'm just asking my team, are any of my team misleading? They're chuckling, they're having a little laugh. They're saying occasionally we will misguide you, but within your highest good. Okay. So it's very much about the question that you ask. So let's have an example. I asked recently, is this relationship good for me? And the answer was yes. And so I assumed an awful lot about it. And it didn't go that way. And I went back to them and I kind of went, eh? And they went, oh, it was so good for you to realise how far you've come and where you are. And but it wasn't the forever relationship you're looking for. I'm like, oh, okay, good to know. It's very much about the questions that we ask. And sometimes we ask the wrong questions. Sometimes they actually block us from asking the right questions because they don't want us to have the answer. There is a saying that I've used for some 25 years, and I used to teach in my spiritual classes. For those of you who don't know, I used to literally held a circle in my house for about 12 people every week. I had 3 circles a week going for about 12 years. And people would come and I would teach them everything I know about spirituality and the law of attraction and crystals and angels and everything else. That if we ask the question, is this good for me? It can often be yes, but it's painful. But that pain helps us grow and helps us establish boundaries and helps us establish what we do want. There's so many nuances. And also it's about how clear the signal is between the psychic. We don't like that word, I know, but between the channeler, the psychic, whatever word you want to use, between the person and their team, how clear is the signal? Because sometimes it can be very foggy and you can mishear and you can pick it up wrong. It's also about the level of the spiritual team. That's interesting. Now, by level, we don't want you to think that higher is better. Every level has its place. But if you are connecting with, say, the 4th realm, which is where your loved ones in spirit currently reside, and you are asking, for example, your passed on grandmother's advice, you will get a reasonable answer. But she can only see so far from the 4th dimension. So when you have a spiritual team that is made up of loved ones on the 4th dimension and guides on the 5th dimension and masters on the 6th dimensions and angelic beings on the 7th dimension, every dimension can see a different perspective, a different outcome, a different distance. So the higher you go, the more you can see. And so when you are connecting for guidance, it's not necessarily higher is better. It depends what you want to know. For example, if you were asking your passed on grandmother's advice about a difficult situation with your mother currently on this plane in the earth, your grandmother is probably the best person to advise you on how to handle your mother because she knows her. Your angels may come at it from a love and light perspective, which isn't going to actually do it for you on a day-to-day level. The angels are kind of going, all right. So having a spiritual teacher such as I enables a connection on multiple levels, and so therefore gives an all-round perspective. So when I'm asking my team an answer, I ask the most appropriate energy to give me the answer. All right. You will hear me sometimes saying that I am connecting to the highest beings of light available to me today. And very often I'm connecting up on the 10th, 12th and more dimensions. But sometimes it works to go talk to your dead gran, depending on the question. Is my dog all right over there? Because she's probably looking after him, you know? All right. I want to close this off with some healing. This is going to be guidance and healing. We've done the guidance. I hope it helped. Let's do some healing now then, yeah? All right. So get yourself sitting down. Get yourself comfy. And take a few deep breaths. Breathe out stress, strain, tiredness. Breathe in peace, harmony, laughter. We ask you to imagine people laughing all around you. Merriment, laughter, gaiety. I want you to connect now with your own spiritual team. Whether you are aware of them or not, on a conscious level, they are absolutely there. So just use your imagination and visualize. My spiritual team is all around me right now. Wherever you are, whether you are sitting in a chair in your car, whether you are sitting in the garden, wherever you are, just imagine them all gathering around you now. Your angels and guides and loved ones. And I want you to imagine now that you are having a beautiful talk with them. And you are asking them, thank you for protecting me and guiding me and loving me. Thank you for showing me the way. Thank you for helping me to be open to receive all that serves me in my highest self. I desire and deserve to live my best life. I desire and deserve joy, love, fulfillment, happiness, prosperity, success, and ease. I choose ease and easy life. I choose flow. I choose to allow all that is meant for me to come to me. And in that choice, I am now consciously and actively allowing that which blocks me to be gently known, gently released where it is able to release. And where it is too stuck, too fixed, too attached, show me the way. Show me how to release. Show me. I am open. I am ready. I am willing. I am able. I am a powerful being of light, and I often forget this. Help me remember. Help me remember who I am. Help me see all that I am capable of. There is nothing in my way. All blocks dissolve, neutralize. All fear dissolves, transmutes. I am allowing my own light to guide me under the guidance of my higher self and my heart. My heart is strong. My heart is loving. I am allowing any pain in my heart to dissolve, to heal gently, safely, comfortably. I am me and nobody else. I am me and nobody else. Any energy within my being that is not mine, I now release, for I am me and nobody else. Any attachments that I have to others, I let go. I let go of chains, restrictions, limitations. For all that is good for me flows freely. I want you to imagine for a moment that you've been running and running and running towards that which you want. You're drained, you're tired, you're exhausted. And you've just been saying to yourself, I just need to rest a moment and I can keep going. I just need to pace myself and I can keep going. And now, no, I'm going to stand still. I'm going to stop chasing my dreams and my goals. For what I chase after runs away. Instead, I am standing still with my arms open wide, and I am inviting that which is meant for me to come towards me like a magnet. I let go of running. I let go of chasing. I stand in my power as the magnetic, incredible being that I am, and I am drawing to me my success, my abundance, my love, my light, my life. I am the power, the way, the force, the love. I am one with my destiny. I am one with the universe. I am one with all that is. And all that is love. This is my intention. This is my statement to my spiritual team, and they will now assist me, and I am opening and open fully to that assistance, which is on its way right now. I will marvel at how quickly things begin to show up in my life. The good things, the positive things, and sometimes awareness of perceived negative things in order that I can release them. I am in the flow of allowing and ease, and all is well indeed. I want you to visualize your spiritual team coming around you now, loving you, hugging you, congratulating you, thanking you, for you chose them as a spiritual team just as much as they chose you to be your guides. And all is well. And you can bring your attention back to the room.
Thank you for joining me today. If you enjoyed this podcast and found it useful, please subscribe to this podcast on Apple, Spotify, Google Play, and more, where you can leave up to a 5-star review. If you want to support my work or want to know more, please go to my website, juliepooleonline.com, where you will find details of my new book, From Hoping to Having, available on Amazon worldwide, and more about my work, products and services. The link is in the show notes. Thank you for listening. See you in the next episode.